Hey everyone, how's it going? For today's video, let's take an up close and personal, in-depth look at the all-new 2015 Nissan Murano. And this is going to be a detailed, in-depth review of the Murano. We'll start it up, show the engine, get an exhaust clip, and go over the performance data, take it on a thorough road test, and show you many of the unique aspects of both the interior as well as exterior. And so, without further ado, let's go ahead and start her up, let her run. As you can see, this SL comes standard with remote start. Standard equipment across the entire Murano lineup is an intelligent access smart key system. So, if you just keep the key fob in your pocket, you're able to lock and unlock the vehicle via the chrome buttons on the driver and passenger side door handle. To lock, just tap it once. The vehicle will chime twice, then after waiting a second, go ahead and hit the button again. It'll chime once, and automatically unlock the vehicle. This exterior color is known as Arctic Blue Metallic, and comes nicely paired with the premium mocha brown perforated leather interior with jet black accented across the doors, center console, dash, and floor. You also have subtle touches of color accent stitching found throughout. In order to start, just make sure you have the key fob within the interior of the vehicle, put your foot on the brake, and hit the console mounted button to go. The new Murano is a very easy vehicle to navigate thanks to its speed-sensitive power assist rack and pinion steering, which relaxes at lower speeds for easier maneuverability and becomes more sensitive to directional inputs at higher speeds for greater agility, all routed through a 4-spoke multifunction steering wheel. It's also comfortable to hold, wrapped in leather, and features grip bolsters at 10 and 2. The spokes and controls are highlighted by satin silver trim with subtle chrome rings on the outer edges of the upper spokes. So I've driven the Murano for about a week, and I must say I'm quite impressed with it. I've driven a lot of cars over the years, especially in this category. There's still a lot more that I've yet to drive, but just overall, the entire package, it's a very refined, very nice riding vehicle. It's a little less sporty feeling than the last generation, which means the suspension is a little less stiff, which is probably going to be a lot more mass appealing to the general public just because the way the suspension is set up in this vehicle, it's extremely smooth. I mean, it soaks up the bumps quite well. It still handles its own in the corners. I mean, it's not a corner carver or anything like that, but I mean, you don't buy a crossover for sporty handling and blistering performance or anything like that. You buy it for practicality, the efficiency over a bigger full-size V8 vehicle, and you can haul a lot of people, you can haul a lot of stuff, and there's so many different iterations out there. So the really important thing in this particular market is how you can distinguish yourself in offering a unique package. And that's exactly what Nissan did with the first generation. I remember when that thing came out, it was very luxurious, and it still looks nice to this day. Build quality was fantastic. I mean, that entirely translates to this new 2015 model. I firmly believe that Nissan entirely redefined the Murano lineup. I mean, this vehicle is not at all the same as the previous generation. The only thing that's the same is that it has a CVT and a V6. This is a bigger vehicle, it rides better, the build is better, the features are better. I mean, it's just better. Depending on whether you like sporty or handling vehicles or not, this may not be the exact thing. This is available with all-wheel drive though, so that's definitely good for a little bit of extra traction to the ground, especially in colder climates. But it really begs the question, why in the world? I mean, obviously there's certain reasons for everybody, but I just don't personally see the need to go and spend more for like an Infiniti or something like that when you can get this that has fantastic craftsmanship for the price. I mean, it's super comfortable. These zero gravity seats are just immensely comfortable. I love them. I mean, it's just a great vehicle. There's good power. It's a very quiet vehicle. I think there's a lot of sound deadening. But I mean, overall, I've really enjoyed it so far. I can't find too much to complain about. The biggest fault that I've noticed is the way the hood is designed. There's a crease that kind of angles back this way towards the driver, and if you're driving directly into the sunlight, depending on the angle, it can hit that curve and just kind of come into the interior just a little too much. I would prefer it if the hood was flat right there and just continued and rolled over like a typical hood, but I guess that's just with the design styling. But that's really it. But what the Murano does provide is a very comfortable and relaxed environment for 5 people. Like previous offerings, the new Murano also features a CVT automatic gearbox or continuously variable transmission, but it's a revised unit that delivers more refinement and better overall performance. CVTs don't have conventional gears. They select between an infinite amount of ratios to balance fuel economy and power, so the engine is always operating at optimal RPMs based on the application. There is in fact 7 simulated gears if you wanted to shift it manually. By clicking the selector to the left and pushing forward or pulling back, the CVT will give you the feeling as if you were shifting gears, which is pretty cool if you wanted the best of both worlds. Accelerating harder in automatic mode also will act like it's shifting gears when it gets up into the higher RPMs. That being said, and many people are going to be shocked to hear me say this, but I believe one of the hallmarks of the new Murano is the CVT transmission. I know, this is blasphemy. I mean, I personally have never been a fan of CVTs before. I didn't like the way they drove, I didn't like the way they sounded, and I just felt like it kind of zapped performance away from the vehicle. But what I've noticed with the Murano is that it's very peppy. Sometimes, like if you're really getting on the pedal, accelerating on getting on the highway or anything, it'll actually act like it's shifting gears. But I mean, just listen to it. It's a whole lot quieter than your typical CVT. I mean, the revs hold, but when you're burying the pedal and going, it's acting like it shifts gears. Now, I don't know if that's a typical CVT characteristic, but it's very interesting. It basically combines both aspects of a traditional like torque converter automatic and the CVT aspect, which gives better fuel economy. And when you have those 7 simulated gears like I talked about earlier, you can shift the vehicle manually with that selector, and it's responsive. You can drop it down a gear or drop it down a gear and it will rev match. I mean, it's very cool, and I don't mind it in this vehicle. I think that it's perfectly suited for this type of vehicle just because, at least in the Murano's aspect, it is quiet. So really hats off to Nissan for making a really good CVT. I'm pretty impressed with it. It really shines in this vehicle, and it makes it a whole lot more of a comfortable and just overall efficient vehicle to drive. Another pretty convenient piece of technology featured on this Murano is a surround view camera system that incorporates a backup camera as well as a front camera. Adaptive guidance lines, both front and rear, predict the intended path of the vehicle based on the steering angle. With 4 cameras in total, one in the front grille, one under each side mirror, and one at the rear, you're able to see a complete 360-degree top-down view to help greatly in parking, especially if visibility is limited out back. You can press the camera button in the top right-hand corner of the infotainment system setup and actually change the top-down view to a close proximity view of the front passenger side tire, so you can check if you're parallel parking or anything like that and protect your wheels. This Murano SL features standard halogen projector LED accented headlamps that are also automatic. You can get LED headlamps though, part of the Murano Platinum. Fog lamps, and your hazards are up top. Both front windows are fully automatic. And we'll go ahead and check out the exterior. Upon shutting the door, you'll also notice the vehicle will chime a few times, letting you know it's lost detection of the proximity key fob. With over 700,000 units sold since its original debut a little over a decade ago, the Nissan Murano has been an undoubted success in the crossover segment. Now built right in our backyard at Nissan's Canton, Mississippi assembly plant, it continues to offer a premium look and feel without that luxury price tag, for people who live an active lifestyle and need something just a bit more accommodating. Nissan has expanded its crossover lineup quite a bit over the years to encompass a wide customer base, from the sportier Juke to the recently redesigned, more compact Rogue and larger Pathfinder. But one thing still remains: the Murano is considered by Nissan to be their flagship crossover, leaning more towards the premium side than your run-of-the-mill family hauler. Unlike some of its competitors, the Murano does not offer a more affordable 4-cylinder alternative. The only power plant, Nissan's venerable 3.5-liter V6, isn't exactly groundbreaking, but it provides good performance for the segment and respectable fuel economy. While it's never been available with a third-row seat, for that it's worth checking out the new Pathfinder. The latest Murano does offer a lot of accommodation for 5 people. Compared to its predecessor, the new Murano is a larger vehicle, increasing by 2.9 inches in overall length and 1.3 inches in width. It's actually shorter in height by 1.4 inches, a tip in the hat to its aerodynamic shape, which doesn't compromise interior space whatsoever. Considering the Murano rides on the same wheelbase as before, it's all the more impressive to know there's an additional 2.4 inches of rear legroom, in addition to restyled seat backs, which yield 1.4 inches of extra knee room for backseat passengers. It's available with either front or all-wheel drive, as well as 4 trim levels: S, SV, SL, and the top-tier Platinum. Base pricing starts at just under $30,000, and more detailed pricing can be found in the description box below. Now entering its 3rd generation for 2015, the Murano is all new, benefiting from a heavy styling makeover that makes it one of the most dramatic looking vehicles in the segment. Taking inspiration directly from Nissan's Resonance concept seen a couple years back, every single panel has been sculpted as if it was shaped by a gentle breeze, incorporating Nissan's new V-Motion front end, edgy boomerang lighting inspired from the 370Z, and a roofline that appears to float above the body. It's quite obvious that the new Murano's styling is a dramatic departure from its predecessor, but skeptics should really keep an open mind until they see it in person. Only then can you really begin to appreciate the many fine details on a whole new level. This, as Nissan's slogan perfectly relates, is the crossover equivalent to innovation that excites. With a segment largely dominated by generic shapes, Murano looks fantastic. A welcome change, daring to be different, just as the original did for the 2003 model year. While that difference may be polarizing to some, to others, like myself, who look for that unique sparkle that sets a vehicle apart from the rest, it makes it that much more of an enticing option. As expected, the 3rd generation Murano is a far more efficient offering than the vehicle it replaces, not only in terms of fuel economy but aerodynamics. For starters, an estimated weight reduction between 130 and 145 pounds means there's a little less weight to toss around. It's also one of the most aerodynamic crossovers currently on the market. The dynamic styling does more than just look cool. It was shaped specifically to decrease air resistance. Thanks to the front and rear spoilers, lower active grille shutters, rear tire deflectors, rear suspension design, and fuel tank, the Murano achieves a quite low 0.31 drag coefficient, compared to the previous Murano which registered 0.37. Combine the weight savings with the aero-inspired shape, and it's estimated the new Murano should see a 20% improvement in fuel economy. All of the Murano's wheel options are in some sort of machine finish. The standard consists of 18 by 7.5 inch split 5-spoke alloy wheels wrapped in 235/65 all-season tires. They're able to hold just over 0.8 G in lateral acceleration. When stepping up to the Platinum, you receive a unique set of larger 20 by 7.5 inch alloys wrapped in 235/55 tires. Stopping from 60 miles an hour takes as little as 117 feet thanks to 4-wheel, internally ventilated disc brakes, 12.6 by 1.1 inches in front and 12.1 by 0.6 inches in the rear, with 2-piston and single-piston calipers respectively. Electronic brake force distribution, brake assist, and 4-channel ABS all come standard. For added safety, adaptive cruise, forward emergency braking, and forward collision warning are available, a part of the technology package, in addition to blind spot monitoring. As far as the suspension, the Murano continues with a fully independent setup of McPherson struts in front with coil springs and a solid 26mm stabilizer bar. Out back, the rear multi-link setup carries twin-tube shock absorbers and a hollow 26.5mm stabilizer bar. Towing capacity for both the front and all-wheel drive models is rated at 1,500 pounds. Overall length is 192.8 inches with a width of 75.4 inches and a height of 66.6 inches, riding on a 111.2-inch wheelbase. Total curb weight for the SL seen here is around 3,847 pounds. So let's go ahead and pop the hood. Like its predecessor, the third-generation Murano continues to be powered by an all-aluminum transverse-mounted 3.5-liter V6 with 4 valves per cylinder, double overhead cams, variable valve timing, port fuel injection, and a compression ratio of 10.3 to 1. With 260 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 240 pound-feet of torque at 4,400 RPM, power is unchanged. Therefore, performance data should be somewhat similar to last year's offering, which could achieve 60 miles an hour in about 7 seconds, pass the quarter mile in 15.5 seconds, and hit a limited top speed of 115 miles an hour. As far as fuel economy, the Murano takes regular unleaded fuel and carries a 19-gallon tank. EPA estimated mileage ratings range between 21 miles to a gallon in the city and 28 on the highway. The same goes for both front and all-wheel drive, which is a notable improvement over its predecessor. The Murano's all-new interior is designed to offer one of the most relaxing cabins in the class, or as Nissan describes it, having an expression of serenity. It surrounds you with an abundance of high-quality materials, first-rate comfort, and easy-to-use ergonomics, inviting you in to the point where you really don't want to get out. I, for one, am quite impressed about how good the build quality is, as it's hard to find an easily accessible surface that isn't wrapped in super soft padding. Double accent stitching makes it feel tailored, while the optional jasper pearlescent or brushed silver trim found throughout further adds to a high-end look. The standard cloth interior found in the S and SV is available in 2 colors, graphite and cashmere. Manual adjusting seats are standard in the base S trim, otherwise the Murano features 8-way power adjustment for the driver's seat including lumbar and a 4-way power passenger seat. When you step up to the SL, premium perforated leather is added with heated front seats in addition to the mocha color theme like you see here. Platinum models receive heated and ventilated front seats with heated rear seats. The Murano also benefits from Nissan's patented zero-gravity seating, which are designed to cradle your body and spine in a neutral position as if gravity wasn't a factor. Speaking from experience, they're extremely comfortable, both soft and supportive, and are meant to reduce long-term fatigue. This alone is worth considering the Murano for, especially if you travel a lot. Adjustable ambient lighting is only available in the SL and Platinum and accents the doors, either side of the center console, and the back of the front seat center armrest for rear passengers. Nissan's also quick to point out that the center stack area has been significantly cleaned up, reducing the number of buttons and knobs for the infotainment system by 60%. With just 10 main buttons, it's far easier to see and use, especially when driving. It's a welcomed improvement in simplicity. A manual tilting telescoping steering wheel comes standard or powered and heated in the Platinum model. you have a standard driver's knee airbag, traction control and trunk release located to the left-hand side, and a uniquely sculpted dash with color-accented speedometer binnacle, all nicely finished off with an optional panoramic sunroof, a part of the technology package. So let's go ahead and see how she sounds. A basic 6-speaker audio system comes as standard equipment in lower trim levels, but for added quality and power, this 11-speaker Bose audio system, including 2 subwoofers, is the way to go. The center of it all is an available 8-inch LCD touchscreen in the middle of the dash, incorporating the Nissan Connect infotainment system with navigation and Bluetooth technology. The A-pillars are wrapped in soft cloth and incorporate 2 Bose tweeters down at the bottom. And right behind that is a little indicator for your blind spot monitoring system. Grip handles up top, soft padded visors, with illuminated vanity mirrors. Auto-dimming view mirror with 3-position garage home link located down below. And in the top stack, you have the microphones for your hands-free Bluetooth telephone and controls for the interior LED illumination, including your reading lamps. Just in front of that is a padded sunglass container. With the technology package as seen on this particular model, you also have a full panoramic glass roof with automatic front sliding portion. Once back, a little wind deflector automatically pops up. So let's talk about how the Nissan Connect system works. In the time that I've had this Murano, I've actually become quite fond of this system. It reminds me of a unique blend of the Chevrolet MyLink / Cadillac Q and the Chrysler Group Uconnect system, if you're familiar with those. Down in the bottom, like the Uconnect, all the apps or different functions are easily laid out for just simple touch. As far as the rest of the system, it incorporates many features and functionality that you would find in a smartphone or a tablet. Like with navigation, it allows you to pinch, draw your fingers back and forth to zoom in and out. The different menus, you can just swipe back and forth. And it's all organized in an app-style fashion. I haven't noticed any lag or anything like it going between the different menus. It's a very responsive system. So right now we're looking at the main menu. There's 3 different screens with customizable apps. You can either swipe through them or hit the little directional arrows to either side. Right now it's set to the factory default, so this is what you would see when you first purchase the vehicle. To the left, you have some navigation shortcuts, the Nissan Connect apps, which I'll talk about later, call history for your telephone, and media in the middle. Now to mention some extra data and features through SiriusXM, such as real-time traffic updates, sports, local fuel prices, stock information, and weather updates. Being that it is entirely customizable, all you have to do is just hit Edit Menu, and just like you would find on like an iPhone, you can reposition the apps, delete them. If there's any blank spaces or after you delete an app, you can also add a new one, or replace one if there's one that you're just not going to use. There's a ton of different shortcuts, all organized by the respective feature. You can organize it however which way makes it easier for you. The upper right hand corner is a button for the camera. It'll bring up your front camera system if you're sitting still, in addition to the surround view. Press it one more time and there's a little proximity camera up there that'll highlight the passenger front wheel, so if you're parking up against a curb you can see that a little bit easier. Rewind, fast forward, changing the track, seek, back button, tune, scroll, and pushing in to bring up your sound adjustments. You can also do it from the settings menu right here, in addition to all the customizable options that you can do for the system. Just hit sound, and then make your selection. In the bottom left, we have audio. I currently have my iPhone plugged up. Up at the top, you have album artwork, all of the song, artist information, and other controls like play, pause, rewind, fast forward, repeat, or shuffle the selection. Typical iPod functions. If you click on iPod menu, now playing just brings you back to the main screen, but you can choose whether you want the album artwork to play in all the different categories just like you would find on your iPhone, so everything stays nice and organized. You can change the source up top, AM, FM, Sirius XM satellite radio, CD player, located right up top here next to the SD map input for your navigation, hands-free Bluetooth streaming, auxiliary, just basic MP3 integration, and USB iPod input. The iPod and auxiliary integration is located in this little storage cubby right here. It's also lined in velour, and when you don't have something in there you can just close it or just use it for small storage. With Sirius XM, just like the radio, you have all of your different preset stations down below there. You could tag songs, customize favorite artists, songs, so if it actually comes on the air, regardless of the station, the system will prompt you, and you can go ahead and listen to it if you want to. You can direct tune, go between different categories and genres, channel lists, and more. The radio screen is pretty much the identical thing. You have preset stations down below, but you also have the option of HD radio. Your hands-free Bluetooth telephone, it'll automatically ask you to pair one if you don't have a phone connected, otherwise it'll bring up your phone book, call history, and things of that nature. You can manually dial a number, put in shortcut numbers up top, and bring up your phone book.
Aaron Hutchings.
So if you're going down the road, you can go between the different options and it'll read the name back to you. Connect to phones, select the Bluetooth device, change the volume settings. It also has the ability to send text messages through the system. System information incorporates a lot of those things like I talked about earlier, provided through a subscription-based Sirius XM service, fuel prices, weather, traffic, more. You have a little vehicle screen right there that will bring up an Eco Drive report, so you can kind of see how economical you're driving. And the Nissan Connect apps. You can download the Nissan Connect app from your respective phone's app store, and it'll incorporate many different things from social media to convenience features. We'll just use the guest as a demo, but to use all of the features you actually have to create an account. It's a subscription-based system. You have iHeartRadio, Pandora for internet streaming of audio, and you can even have Twitter and Facebook a part of the full package. When everything's all synced up, you also have Google search through the infotainment system. Continuing on, bring up your map, like I said, with real-time traffic updates, map menu, you can pinch back and forth to zoom in, destination assist, points of interest, address book, home, look up by phone number, and more detailed settings. I'll talk about a little bit more when we get to the steering wheel multifunction controls, but it's just some extra customizable options for all the various respective main features. But in a nutshell, those are all the basic features of the Nissan Connect system available in the Nissan Murano. I just love how the brushed aluminum looking trim blends into the dash and swoops across. Continuing down the center console, the majority of it is finished in high gloss black with some satin silver trim, in addition to satin silver outlining the vents. Down below, we have a dual zone electronic automatic climate control with independent temperature adjustments for either side, one-touch automatic, fan speed in the middle, different zones, and recycling front and rear defrost. Down below that, the SL features standard 2-stage heated seats for both the driver and passenger. When you step on up to the Platinum model, you have climate-controlled seats, so you have both heating and ventilation for the front, in addition to heated rear seats. A 12-volt power outlet, the chrome accented start button like you saw earlier, Plenty of that really cool looking brushed aluminum looking trim, 2 cup holders, and a padded armrest that also incorporates the brushed trim all the way into the rear with a little storage cubby. Flip open the console and you have a tremendous amount of space, a removable velour storage tray, and another power outlet down below. As far as the multifunction steering wheel, on the right-hand side you have your cruise control and adaptive cruise settings, a part of that technology package I talked about earlier. This button right here allows you to adjust the distance that the Murano will follow the vehicle in front. On the left-hand side, you have your driver information controls. They show up in that 7-inch TFT display in between the speedometer cluster, in addition to your radio controls, hands-free telephone, and voice commands. The voice commands are located in the top button here.
You can interrupt voice prompts and speak a command immediately by pushing the talk switch. You can also use the up-down switch on the steering wheel to select an item from the displayed list. Please say or select a command.
Help.
You can use voice recognition to control many features to help keep your eyes on the road and hands on the steering wheel while driving. Here are some general tips on using the voice recognition system. You can interrupt voice prompts and speak a command immediately by pushing the talk switch. Remember to always speak a command after the tone. Push the back button to return to the previous step. To exit voice recognition at any time, push and hold the talk switch or say exit. To reduce the length of spoken prompts, you can select exiting voice recognition.
So like other similar systems on the market, you can pretty much control the entire infotainment system through voice recognition. The voice is also quite pleasant. It doesn't sound robotic at all, just like natural speech. This button right here has 2 different functions, both for the driver info system and the media. If you're in just one of the main menus, just scrolling back and forth, you can click up or down without selecting the OK button and go between your different tracks or preset radio stations. But if you hit OK and bring up the little detailed menus, then you can use the up or down arrow to make a selection within. So as far as the various menus, this is the home screen. Up at the top, it shows you whether you have your blind spot monitoring system activated, a digital clock, outside temperature, digital speed readout, compass, audio data, fuel range down below, what gear you're in, and the odometer. Click it to the right, you have media, navigation, drive computer, fuel economy, driving aids, your blind spot monitoring system, tire pressure monitoring system, as well as different warnings if there's an alert or something the system needs to bring to your attention. Off to the far right is a settings menu where you can customize just about every aspect of the vehicle, from driver assistance, display options, including changing the color of the vehicle on the welcome screen, welcome effect, how you want the vehicle to greet you, maintenance schedule, clock, tire pressure monitoring system, and much more. Alrighty. There's also an auto recall feature for the driver's seat, so when you start the vehicle up, it slides up to the last memory setting, and when you shut it off, it goes back just a little bit to aid ingress and egress. Now let's go ahead and check out the back seat. The Murano has a pretty spacious back seat overall, but it's what you would expect out of this cutthroat crossover segment we're in today. Build quality is also superb with the same type of premium materials that you find in the front. The upper portions of the door panels are wrapped in the soft touch material with the mocha brown accents and that brushed aluminum looking trim. Just like the front, the rear seats are also finished in the premium leather with perforations across the middle. They're fully adjustable. You can recline them down for extra storage, and I'll show that during the trunk portion. Or you can just pull the strap when you're sitting in the seat and recline the seat either a little bit forward or a few inches back, aiding in more long-term comfort. So now, let's go ahead and hop in on the other side, talk more about backseat amenities, overall comfort, and interior space. Like we briefly talked about earlier, the new generation Murano is a slightly larger vehicle than its predecessor when taking into consideration its overall exterior dimensions. The wheelbase length, though, didn't change, so the first thing that you'll notice is a repackaging of the interior to make it a lot more spacious. What that basically means is, while the footprint of the Murano didn't really change, there's an additional 2.5 inches of leg space back here, which is immediately noticeable upon climbing in. Especially with the panoramic glass roof and the restyled center console, a few other subtle tweaks here and there, it's a lot more airy feeling than before. Climbing on in is no more difficult than climbing into like a large family sedan or something like that, maybe like an inch or so taller. The door panels evoke that same solid thud like you find in the front, and everything, for the most part, is also wrapped in that soft padded material, so it still feels refined and comfortable back here. A center console in the middle can be folded down, incorporating 2 cup holders and a little bit of storage and a tremendous amount of padding. This is probably the most padding I've ever seen in an armrest, or at least any time lately. It definitely makes it a whole lot more comfortable, takes the fatigue off your elbow. Just like the front, the back seat is very comfortable for passengers. There's no extra lateral support across the sides really, but it definitely has a lot of lower back support, and it sits quite well. There's a nice amount of give in the lower cushion and upper backrest. As far as overall interior room, I'm 5'10", with a comfortable seating position for myself up front. I probably have 4.5, 5 inches or so, and roughly 3.5 inches or so of headspace. Another thing that I briefly talked about a second ago is the fact that you can recline these seats in addition to folding them. I'll show you the folding portion just a little bit with the trunk section. But all you have to do is just grab that little strap down below and pull it out. You can move it forward. This is the most forward position that it can be locked, and there's a few steps in between, and then all the way back. It's quite substantial, so if you want to whip out this armrest, use the soft contour of the door, you can just kick back and relax. And there's not a lot of hardware into the seat either, so you can stick your shoes up under there a pretty good way. Up top you have LED reading lamps, a grip handle, and a coat hook located on the driver's side handle. You do have side curtain airbags all the way around, so everybody's nice and protected. Adjustable headrests. You can sit a third person right here, and there's basically no drivetrain hump, so you don't have to worry about encumbering your legs or anything like that. And they also have an adjustable headrest. Rear quarter windows for better visibility, lower air registers, and a USB port, so you can charge your smartphone or tablet or even play media through the audio system. The storage pocket that you saw up here is a little bit easier to get to back here. It's really meant for backseat passengers, I guess. It provides a nice slender storage pocket, so if you are plugging up your smartphone, you have a place to put it and you don't have to string cords across the vehicle. There's also storage pockets on the back of the seats. But that's pretty much it, so let's go ahead and check out the rest of the vehicle. When you step up to the SL and subsequent Platinum trims, you receive a power rear liftgate as standard equipment. In addition to the dash and trunk mounted buttons, it can be opened and closed by the remote fob. There's even a safety feature that'll automatically stop the liftgate and reverse the action if the door encounters an object, both opening and closing. Once open, it boasts a generous 39.6 cubic feet of cargo space behind the rear seat. That's an increase of 8 cubic feet of usable space over the previous generation, largely thanks to 3.3 inches of additional floor length and 2 inches in width. Fold the seats flat by the easy-to-use handles to either side and cargo area climbs to 69.9 cubic feet. There's illumination, a rear power outlet, and cargo tie-downs. Your spare tire and Bose subwoofers are located underneath the trunk floor, and the rear seats can even be had with a power return feature for added convenience, standard on Murano Platinum. Extra storage can be found in the little cubbies to either side of the storage well, the right-hand side of which houses your jacking equipment. You can even turn off the power liftgate feature via a switch in the glove box. The passenger seat does have power sliding and recline, but it lacks the height adjustment and the power lumbar like you find in the driver's seat. Down in the bottom of the dash, you do have a large glove box, all lined in velour, and it's a two-tier design, so there's an extra pocket up here for stowing some smaller items. You also have additional storage on the side of the center console. Nissan has done a fantastic job at the redesign of the all-new Murano. With better build quality, more refined driving characteristics, and plenty of passenger comfort, I highly suggest it be put at the top of your list of crossovers to consider. After all, if you're wanting to make a statement without spending luxury prices, the Nissan packs great value for what you get. Well everyone, I hope you enjoyed the in-depth look at the all-new 2015 Nissan Murano. Be sure to stay tuned next time, there's a lot more where that came from. Take care everybody.